Welcome to another episode of the A-Team at New Beginnings Farmstead. I'm Elisa, and we have everyone with us today. We have Julie, Ryan, Jeff, and Egidio. And we did get a lot of comments. People reached out to us, and they wanted to know more about the farm when we first moved in, when we first bought it. So we were able to find some pictures, and we're going to talk about some things that went on when we first bought the farm. I did mention earlier that when we kept driving past the farm, one of the things that I was really just drawn to was I just loved the front of the house, and I loved the wall and the black walnut tree, which we no longer have. So I did find a picture, so here we are able to see what the house looked like from the street and what I fell in love with. So Egidio, why don't you take us back?
Yeah, so I mean, on inspection, there was some structural issues with the house, especially the old addition. Back in this picture, you can see the fireplace that you fell in love with. It had a wood stove insert in there that essentially is all that and another wood stove in the other part of the house that heated the entire house. There was no central heating system, so these two pieces.
And what you can't see from this picture is the size of this fireplace. This was monstrous. It was like really the entire length of a room, and it was absolutely beautiful, beautiful blue stone fireplace. However,
yeah, so the foundation, it's all on solid rock here. So the foundation was put on rock. It was built up by block. The blocks were cracked. They weren't, when they built it back, I guess in the 60s, there was no reinforcement, and the walls continued all the way up, block walls, and they were covered in siding with some small furring strips really that they nailed to. And the first visit that you and Margaret made, right? What happened there?
So my wife and I, he told us what they were doing. My wife and I stopped by to see the place, and Elisa gave us a tour of what she envisioned. So I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely see things that nobody else can. So we spent time. We went up to the barns. We went up to the fields. We went up pretty much the whole thing. And we got in the car, and as we're driving away, my wife looks at me and says, "Oh, this is going to kill him." And here we are 7-8 years later, still going, but it was close.
Yeah, there was a couple of close calls, no doubt about it. So, yeah, that addition we knew right off the bat was going to have to be torn off. There was no way structurally. There was cracks in the foundation block. The ceiling or the roof itself was flat, supported by massive beams that went across. I think it was 17 feet across, and flat roof. It was tar roof. It had those pieces on the top, ceramic tile on the top that just there was a leak in the corner. It was just a bad design over time that didn't hold up. And like I said, the structural integrity was pretty bad. So I mean, at that point, we ended up numbering the blocks. Elmo's up there numbering the rocks. We put them on pallets. We took them out. And
they're on a trailer now, Julie. They now sit on a trailer somewhere.
Multiple trailers, Julie?
Yes.
Thank goodness there's a trailer for that.
Yeah, thank
Trailers,
goodness.
yeah.
You're not kidding.
So they've been sitting on a trailer for 8 years?
Yes,
3
really.
pallets.
Yeah, in the initial
Couldn't
the
they just
initial
be on the
plan-
ground?
Well, the initial plan was to rebuild the fireplace someplace else because it was so pretty.
So on a whim, you need them to be on a trailer to be able to bring them
Well,
wherever?
just move it.
To answer
You just
your
never
question,
know.
If you put them on the ground, you got to pick them up again.
Right,
But if you put them on a trailer, you touch them once.
And so for 8 years, you can't use that trailer.
right.
That's why you buy another trailer.
It's a fireplace trailer.
Fireplace trailer.
Right. Just in case.
See, now you're catching on, Julie.
I may be catching on, but I might not agree.
If you happen to drive home and see a trailer for sale, please
Just
know.
let us know because we could use a few more. Clearly,
If anyone out there has a trailer for sale. So some of these pictures are showing the amount of work that needed to be done. You can see the beams in the ceiling. The floor itself had some pretty good cracks in it. Like I said, it was a block wall that had furring strips over the top and aluminum siding over that. The picture windows were single pane. The doors were wooden. The frames were rotted. It was an old piece. There was a side porch, screening porch, that was more for holding the wasp nests in there than anything else. There were multiple layers of tar roofing that we ended up trying to dig through and rip off. There's, many pictures in here of the wood that we saved and reused much of it that we could for the bathrooms.
Yeah, and here you can see the beams that were in the ceiling of that addition, which were just really spectacular. And again, we intended to reuse them elsewhere. We haven't yet. So
Are they on a trailer somewhere?
I think they are on a trailer somewhere. They're on a beam trailer, aren't they, Ryan?
They might have been on the firewood trailer for
they're
smaller pieces.
they're gone.
I think there may be two of these that still exist that are next to a trailer. I don't think they're on the trailer, but I think the other ones ended up in a firewood trailer.
I can tell you where the
Are we having a moment of silence right now?
Well, I'm just trying to remember where they are.
Yeah, the mantle is in the sugar shack.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, the mantle to this fireplace is gorgeous. It is actually, it's one huge slab of wood that takes several people to move because it's, 4 or 5 inches thick.
Yeah, it's
And if
beautiful.
we had a trailer,
If we had a trailer
For it.
for
But
it.
you carried it?
we wouldn't have to if
No.
we had a trailer.
No, we used the smaller trailer to carry it. The smaller trailer couldn't hold it, so. You got a lot with trailers, don't you, Julie? You got like.
Julie doesn't like a trailer. I don't know.
I don't know about hoarding.
Okay.
If it has a purpose, it's not hoarding.
Correct.
So in here you can see that this addition was a big portion of the house. It was almost half the house, the back of the house, and we removed
Clearly
it all.
see some of the cracks in the foundation. The actual picture window that you're standing in right now, we actually saved that glass and used it to put the survey map on the wall in the big barn.
Yes.
For the weddings.
Yep.
So.
So we tried to recycle as much of the items from the barn. Right. Well, we try.
Yeah, I mean, we got a demolition permit from the town because we knew we were adding the addition to it. But in addition, the space between the old addition and the existing house, or the original house, when we ripped down that siding underneath it, it was just full of black walnuts from the squirrels that had stored them in there. Literally, we tore down that bottom piece of siding, and they came out like a slot machine.
They did.
Yeah, it
Like
was
one of those
amazing.
machines, like if you go to a hotel and you pull out the bottom, you get cereal, and the cereal goes into your bowl. That was how it was in the beam. We'd remove the bottom piece, and it was full all the way up the
There was no
entire.
insulation in the walls. I mean,
The whole thing would come out black walnuts.
And with the foundation itself, I mean, here you can see the block wall and how easily it came down. There was no structural integrity to it, no reinforcement on it, and it just fell through. And then we ended up cutting the floor out, totally exposing the original foundation. And then there's a gap of about a foot in between the stone foundation and the new foundation of the old addition that we had to fill up, and it was full of snake skins and mice droppings and yeah. So in this picture you can see the excavator that had cleared the old foundation and made the pit larger. The blocks that you see in the photograph to the left is the original foundation of the old foundation, and then the tar paper that's covering the plywood to use to seal up the old house. Here's just clearing. We're trying to make the space for the new place, and on some of these you can see just clearing the rock. In some cases, here's one where Little Turner is using a bucket of water.
Yeah, trying to help
carrying
out.
buckets of water up to clean the rocks off, and but that's what the addition looked like there. So, and once we started to actually move forward with it, we proceeded to start doing a regular foundation, and from there it took a lot of work putting the footings in, anchoring it to the original rock. There was a tremendous amount of work in just pinning it. We did use epoxy to hold it together, and then at that time we started rebuilding. We used regular 10-inch and 12-inch cement blocks that we put down, reinforced.
But let's talk
And,
about the timeline, because we removed that. Did we remove that before our wedding?
Yes.
So we removed that before the wedding, and then it was like that for at least 2 years because we did not put the addition back on
Right.
until Ryan was with us. So we didn't have Ryan until 2016, right? 17, when did you come? I know your
17.
wedding was in
We-
17,
we
but when did
started-
you show up at the farm? So
'Cause
spring of
Patrick was here,
17?
We did the floors, right? You, Patrick, Ryan, we did the floors initially, we did the blocks.
So
Yep.
2 years went between ripping off that part of the house and then rebuilding it.
Right, so
Yeah.
with the footings here.
Yeah, we built these footings.
Yes.
Right.
So 2
And
years
you can-
later, this
and you can
is
see
more
how,
pictures.
Because of the level of the rock and everything being pinned into the bedrock, we had to keep adding steps and essentially just figuring out, how it got all pinned in there. And luckily, we were able to get a cement truck in there and pour it all out. But once they were poured, with the rebar and everything else, then we just started laying the foundation. And from there, the big component of making sure this thing was going to work was sealing it with tar, and not just sealing the walls that we were going to backfill against, but also sealing the footings to the rock. So that's why everything had to be cleaned. We pressure washed everything. We didn't take any chances. And once the lumber was delivered, we just started working up from there. We used TJIs. Everything was spec'd out on plans. And then when we got to the roof, there was about a 2-foot difference because of the elevation from the old house. The ceilings are lower, and so we started just ripping all these shingles off, and it was old dust and nasty stuff. And then when we went up top, we actually resheathed the old part of the house on that side, which needed a new roof, and then used that to tie in. And from there, the addition was added. We had quite a bit of flooding during that time period because there was no drainage on that side of the house. So we used the zip sheeting here, and then you can
Well, that's
see
the
us-
roof, right? You're
yeah,
up on the
You can
roof.
see us on the roof on the angle. And again, you can't really tell maybe from some of these photographs, but there was a tremendous height difference. We actually rented, at the time we didn't have one, but we
Yeah.
rented a portable lift to be able to do the soffits and some of the work. But you're talking about 3 stories up, and
We had harnesses though.
Well, let's.
we use safety harnesses.
Yeah,
Let's
we
talk
had
about-
harnesses.
Walk on, right?
We had harnesses. They
They
were in
were
a
on
bucket.
site.
They
Yep.
were on site, and
They were available for use.
they were
if-
available.
Yes.
They were available for use
Yeah.
as needed.
Yes.
Thank you. That is correct.
But let's talk about the timeline on that, because once we started building, we couldn't really stop. Once the back of the house was open, it was not weatherproof. So that timeline accelerated very, very quickly from the foundation to open up the back of the house, getting both the first floor and the second floor framed up and the roof on it before we had any torrential rains. Otherwise, it would have been a swimming pool inside the house.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that. And we were moving fast.
Actually, because of the time frame and the weather and everything that was concerned, we actually got a price. We don't normally do this, or we don't contract out, and we got a price from a roofer to come in and do the shingles. And the price was great. It was amazing, but he couldn't get to it for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then you said,
I don't know what I said.
I think you said it. You said, I'll be over. Let's get it done. And you and Ryan showed up, and on the roof we went, and that was the end of it, right?
Yeah.
We just,
Yeah. I remember that was
Here- in this
very
picture, you got a smile on
nerve-wracking.
your face, Jeff. He's smiling.
Yeah, because I'm the one that's on the peak.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeff looks like you're holding on for dear life. Ryan, you're teetering.
Yeah, and this is just before we got the harnesses, I think, right? Because in all the other pictures we're showing that we have.
No, there's a harness in that picture behind Jeff.
Yeah, it's there in the bucket.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
have enough buckets for the amount of people we had on that roof, and it was quite nerve-wracking for me. And I was
So
not
you
on the
can-
roof.
In this particular picture, you can actually see the height difference on there, and it was interesting. It's not a high-pitched roof. The original house has an 8-on-12. This was about a 4.5, 5-on-12 pitch, I think.
Yep.
To match up the peaks on it that we ordered, and everything was fit though on this foundation. You can definitely see some of the progress we made on that. It was handy having the lift on because the zip board we used has got the regular 7/16 OSB zip boarding on it, plus it has the 1-inch styrofoam.
Right.
So it made it a little bit more unwieldy to do it. So a lot of them will see the pictures as looking out, hanging out the windows or on the lift to get this done. And it came in handy. Right? The little trailer
Oh, yeah.
actually did a great job for us.
Yep.
How long do you think it...
Trailers.
Trailers.
But we
How
don't
long-
own this anymore.
So how long do you think it took from the time after we poured the cement in the basement there, the garage, not really garage, the basement, and started to put up the framing and got to this point, Ryan? What do
This
you
was
think?
only like 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks. The windows obviously weren't in, but we had it up and weather tight with the exception of the windows and the doors.
I mean, it was definitely an all hands on deck. I mean,
Yeah.
every,
Oh,
every
yeah.
available moment you guys had, we were over here doing this stuff. and
Yeah,
Just banging it out. I mean, and like I said, you can see that we had rain at one point because there was
Right, it
so
filled
much
up.
flooding. We actually put pumps in the ground to try to get it out. I mean, drainage. I think we did 3 truckloads, 3 10-wheeler loads of gravel
Mhm.
around the foundation, and every bucket of tar that we had that my father had laying around up in Olive we used. The foundation itself is covered in sand essentially around the foundation, and but the drainage and all that work was just unbelievable, you know. And but luckily we have not a drop. It's not even humid in the basement, so anytime we have any type of rain, we're pretty good with covering it here. So in this picture, you can see that Elisa's taking a break from her father.
I was.
Uh,
Yes, I was.
in the shade.
Somebody's got to be a supervisor.
So, and then we started the backfill. So it was a tremendous undertaking, really, and could not have been done without the family coming together on it, because there's just no way. I mean, here you can see the roof shingles are done in this photograph from up top, and in this picture, a tree branch had come down during the windstorm and had taken down the electric line. So we
Of
were
course.
scrambling to try to get
It's always
we were
something.
scrambling to try to
Always
get that back
something.
up, on there. Here's the line. I pulled the meter off the wall, and we had a wedding.
that we had a wedding that day.
Yes, that
I remember.
day.
Yeah,
We had come home. It was a Friday night, and the wedding was Saturday. They had just left after setting up, and we came home, and the wire was down. And we called Central Hudson, and they sent a person over to assess it, and said, "No, we'll have a crew out here first thing in the morning." But surprisingly, we did not lose electric, but it ripped everything right off the walls, the meter pan, and it pulled the wires off the house that were overhead at the time going up to the barn. So
right.
when they shut it down, we had no, when the crew showed up early in the morning, there were 3
Yeah.
of them from Central Hudson, 3 separate trucks.
And I do remember that you did tell them on the phone, like, we were a farm and we had a wedding going on that day. And I have to say, they were so fast to get out here, and they
Oh, yeah.
immediately made the repairs.
Another
They were-
trailer.
Yes, they were amazing. I have to say, Central Hudson was on it that day.
So although we talked about trailers in the last episode, here's one where Jeff is bringing his own trailer. I don't know. Give me the context.
I'm not quite sure what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like there's a chair in one hand, and
He's got a little personal trailer.
hey,
You get old.
it happens. So
Trailer of every size, Julie.
yeah, no, there's the height. You can kind of see the height on it. And at one point, we added a small roof to the back door on it, which the foundation is, because of the height. We try to match up the height on it. The foundation in that section of the house is 6'2". I mean, it's pretty low to the ground. So yeah, I mean, at the same time, we started, once the house was done, we did fight the mud from time to time on it, and then we just started working through the rest of it, the mechanicals, the electric, and the heat, so on and so forth. So, we did that when we could. So this is not
It's Ryan's fault.
That is no.
That is a different
no.
show.
our edition.
That's a
we'll
different
flash
show.
This picture up quick. This was done at your house, Jeff.
Yeah, and it's all Ryan's fault.
It is not my fault.
It is.
Absolutely
Actually,
not
we
my
can
fault.
talk about that on another
Another
episode.
episode.
But
Running
we
a
have
chainsaw in the house.
we
that
have
was fun.
family fun from one house to another.
Yeah, no, it's your kitchen, my garage. Yeah,
Yeah, we have an amazing family. And everyone
You
here
don't
at
have
this
the front side roof, huh?
no, there are pictures of that somewhere.
Yeah, we do. We do have pictures of it. I think this episode we just wanted to cover the back edition because we've done so much to the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done a lot.
The front porches. I mean, here's some pictures of the deck on the back, and you can see that we used all available space to put it back there, and it's here's a photograph of you putting the siding.
Putting the siding on that addition.
Siding over the top of where the windows were, and
I've learned a lot.
yeah, no, that's we have done quite a bit, no doubt about it, and but we could not have done it without the family.
No, that is for sure.
100%.
Well, I thought you were gonna say trailers.
Well, we need trailers.
Well, you need
Oh, yeah, we need
trailers.
trailers.
People have to move the trailers, so those people are family, and that's what we do. So, yeah, it has been quite an episode. But yeah, I guess the next thing we'll cover at some point is like the front porch and the front roof, right? That was
That was
that in
another.
and of itself is a
fun
story.
day.
So yeah, that is true. That is true.
So I think this wraps it up for this episode, and we hope you enjoyed it. You can comment if you have any questions about the project that we did and our trailers. Feel free to let us know, and we hope you join us. Please like and subscribe, and that's it. See you soon.